We like the low prices that globalisation brings, but we also want jobs. So where's the balance? Part of the answer lies in the future of offshoring and outsourcing Australian business. One nation enjoying a good chunk of Aussie business is India. And tonight, the Indian Institute of Technology's Australian alumni holds a conference to talk about just this. I spoke to convener THB Khanna earlier. THB Khanna, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Tiki.
Just how important to India has Australia's outsourcing business been?
To be honest, it is in proportion with Australia's GDP as part of the world. Australia roughly accounts for 2% of global GDP, and in line with that, Australia's share of offshoring in India is of the order of slightly above 2%.
So 2% of what, $70 billion?
That is correct, Tiki.
I was speaking to the Finance Sector Union yesterday. They were very concerned about the offshoring that's happening within the banking sector. There are obviously strong feelings about outsourcing offshoring. What is the future of it in Australia, do you think?
One has to look at what are the macroeconomic drivers Australia is facing. As all of us know, we have a multi-speed economy. We have some sectors of the economy, like on retail, like manufacturing, inbound tourism, where the cost pressure is so high that they are struggling to survive. Now, they have no choice but to reduce the cost base.
So it is a cost issue?
Very strongly a cost issue. But it is also in certain parts of the economy, like the resources, as well as the NBN, it's a skills issue, because there's a shortage of skills.
India and indeed China has been a very popular locations for offshoring. In the next 5 years, are there other places too that will feature very highly?
In fact, all emerging economies are coming up as very good centers for offshoring. It really comes down to what works best for each country. To give you an example, even New Zealand is a very good example, because there is a cultural synergy between the two countries, and the cost is about 30% less.
We've seen a shift in outsourcing and offshoring from manufacturing and construction in Australia now to mining and indeed, of course, online retail. Are there going to be different skills required in that sort of business?
Tiki, that is already happening. In anticipation, our current resource majors are employing, global delivery to a very significant extent. Online retail itself is also employing a significant global delivery. And that is requiring a new skill sets in the industries. And it is difficult to find those skill sets in the quantities or in the requirements at the right time and the right place. So absolutely that is happening at the moment.
One of the downsides, of course, for any company looking at outsourcing, offshoring, is the casualties back here in Australia. Should these companies have some sort of moral responsibility to the labour force that they lay off?
I think this is a much bigger issue than for the corporates that are involved. It is looking at positioning of the whole country. I think the government, the corporates, the industry bodies, all of them collectively have to look at the issue and see where is the economy heading towards and arrange for skills in those directions. We as Australians have to focus on higher end skills now. And that is where, when we look at the emerging opportunities in Asia, we need to be positioning ourselves for high technology, biotech areas, IT services. So we need to be moving up the ladder.
Is there any chance that we could get much of a return business, that we could see other countries, perhaps even India, outsourcing to Australia in any size?
I will give you a different example, Tiki. We are seeing a transfer of economic balance from developed countries to the developing countries. So for top-line growth, we have no option but to go towards emerging economies. When we are outsourcing hypothetically to India, we should be using that as a beachhead for setting up or looking at the market in India itself. So that is the two-way relationship that one should be looking at.
So looking at opportunities in India, because we're not very good at that in Australia.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because one has to remember that these are very, very large economies, and they are very difficult countries to work with. They have infrastructure challenges. They are still governed by a whole lot of government regulations and so on and so forth. But the future is only there. So the choice is ours.
THB Khanna, nice to talk to you.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure to be here, Tiki.